Not my friend. We welcome back to your tonight on Debate Amongst Friends. We welcome back Senior October for early review on baseball news and updates, as well as the NBA playoffs. Don't talk about playoffs. These teams are just trying to win another game starting now.
Ladies and gentlemen of the internet, welcome to Debates Among Friends, live on YouTube. This is the 49th edition of the Sports Podcast on April 17th, 2017. I am your host, the Professor John Gotti, and always by my side, not trying to be a triple-double machine like a guy who lost really badly, but he is repping the beard like his main man. It's Doc Ocean. How you doing tonight?
Not only am I repping the beard, but as a fellow Virgo, I'm very supportive of James Harden's antics. I understand him completely. I'm doing great, sir. What a victory. Can't wait to talk about it. Can't wait.
Oh my goodness. Well, we can't have some basketball news and some baseball news without the man himself. We had him screaming through the doors, and he is in the studio tonight. It is Senor October.
October. Senor October.
Good evening, gentlemen. Listen, spring is upon us. Besides the flowers and April showers, baseball, the first true sign of springtime.
Ladies and gentlemen, I went John Cena with me.
Yeah, it's okay though. The stream didn't catch that. It's fine. Internet justice prevails. But I know everyone's getting ready to talk about some sports. I know we definitely want to talk about the playoffs, but first we're going to do our latest segment of October baseball news. Senior October, take it away.
Thanks for having me back, guys. The season is off to a roaring start. We had the World Baseball Classic, which by all accounts was a huge success. The biggest audiences in the 4 times that the tournament's been played. The USA winning, I think, will definitely help the visibility of the Classic here in the United States. Previously, Japan won it twice, and Dominican Republic won it 4 years ago. So I think the United States winning will go a long way into getting a lot of our star ball players that necessarily haven't been interested or really cared to participate to get involved. You've even heard Mike Trout and Bryce Harper express how they really want to play again. Play for the first time 4 years from now. Adam Jones and all of Team USA put on a tremendous show, and it was a great segue actually into the regular season. I think it's created a lot of excitement.
Absolutely.
A lot of cash.
Especially with me looking at Twitter and just seeing just how much love is going on because of how, would I be too far-fetched to say dominance that the USA baseball team was doing during this World Baseball Classics? They definitely brought their game, man.
Yeah, the pitching definitely showed up. They didn't score as many runs as Dominican Republic or Puerto Rico, but like the old adage, defense wins championships. Stroman pitched the game of his life on that closeout game. Team Puerto Rico hadn't lost a game the entire tournament, and Stroman just absolutely shut them down. And unfortunately, he had a little extra motivation due to the fact that he's part Puerto Rican, and his mother's more specifically is from Puerto Rico. So he could have played for Team Puerto Rico, but he chose the United States. And he actually, some people have had some really nasty things to say about that. And I mean, listen, anytime you go to a championship game, the last thing you want to give your opponent is bulletin board material. And the fact that a lot of Puerto Rican fans were kind of ripping him on social media and saying terrible things about his mother really kind of gave him more of a reason to want to beat them than he previously probably would have had.
No doubt.
So I mean, he had a no-hitter going through 7 innings. I mean, in the championship game for the WBC, he pitched the game of his life. But the pitching top to bottom for Team USA, and the timely hitting, it really all came together. And Puerto Rico, I mean, all those teams that got, especially to the Final Four. I mean, Dominican Republic were world champs last year, and the United States beat them, and then beat Puerto Rico, a team who hadn't lost the entire tournament, and beat Japan, who also hadn't lost the entire tournament. So, I mean, Team USA really earned its stripes for the WBC. They really did. It was really, really fun to watch.
I mean, would you say that this is now a turning point in USA baseball now? Because, World Series of Baseball, that aside, we know where a lot of the talent comes from. Would you say that now the USA is starting to put themselves on the map as one of the baseball juggernauts now?
I mean, absolutely, and that was always the 800-pound gorilla in the room. Was that the country where the game was invented hadn't won the WBC. Japan won it the first 2 times, and Dominican Republic won it the last time out. So, but and this is kind of typical of how United States fans are with sports in general. We're very hyper local. Like, we really care about our club teams. And like the national team, I mean, with the exception of soccer, the USA men's team for soccer has really got a really great following. But it took several decades. It took a decade or more to really get that going. But we always tend to focus on our local clubs, But when you looked around in other countries, like when you looked around at Puerto Rico and San Juan, they're viewing the championship game with thousands of people in the town square. It looked like the World Cup in any other country, like that reaction. So I think this really will help the United States, not just fans, but the players. The United States-born players that really didn't want to get involved, whether it's because it was due to injury or their teams were worried about them getting injured. I really think now the United States winning will really generate a lot more interest in 4 years. I mean, I think you're really going to see, like you said, I think this really is a turning point. I completely agree with that statement in terms of how this country views this international tournament now in its 4th iteration.
I know that you kind of mentioned the influence. Do you see just this outcome itself influencing a lot of more kids to want to pick up the bat and head out to the diamond versus going to the gridiron or going to the hardwood? Like, do you see the results of this tournament influencing more kids to want to play the game of baseball now?
I would hope so. I mean, I really would hope so. It was tough early on because it's not like the World Cup where it's just played in one country. Like, the preliminary rounds were spread through Japan and through other parts of Europe. So those early rounds, unless you were staying up or getting up at 6 a.m. to watch a game in Tokyo of Italy versus Israel, it was tough. But that's why they moved the later quarterfinals, semifinals, and championship round to the United States. So, that's the main audience, the Western Hemisphere. But I definitely think so, because, real quick, I just want to touch on this. What was really cool was non-traditional baseball countries did really well. The Netherlands were the Cinderella story. And Team Israel actually had a tremendous showing. And you had a lot of these little I don't know what to call them, these little like totems that each team had. Like, for example, Israel had Mensch on a bench, the stuffed animal. And that was like their rally thing. United States had like a ceramic bald eagle that somebody had given them. The Team Puerto Rico had bleached all their hair blonde. Dominican Republic had big plantains, inflatable plantains in the dugout. So like I think even if you weren't a kid in the United States, I think if you're a kid of any one of those ethnicities, I think it would make you want to pick up a bat. Even if your country didn't win, just because your country had such a good showing and your country was relevant, even though your country, like for example, Italy, Israel, and Netherlands, may not be a noted baseball country, hey, you guys, they had a good showing. You know, none of these teams really looked like they were outclassed by the other. The level of play was pretty good. So I definitely think that whether you're a kid in the United States and you're all about Team USA, or whether you're a kid in the United States and your background's Dominican or Puerto Rican or Israeli, I really think it gives you something to touch on and says, you know what, yeah, look at this. Look, now baseball has something that has the beginnings of growing into its own version of like soccer's World Cup. In terms of, it's going to take a long time to get to that importance, if ever. But if you're a kid that really is leaning towards baseball, I definitely think so, just because of all the little storylines that were going on throughout the tournament, aside from just your country having a good showing.
It would be interesting to get one of those fathers out there, like Lonzo Ball's dad, out there on the diamond, like, my kid can hit, he can run, he can pitch, he can play outfield, any base you want him to. You just got to give him $1 gazillion, and he'll put his face on a shoe.
I can't believe you just went there. I'm
Okay.
so salty
You
right now.
You know what I think? What I think Lonzo Ball's dad did? You want to know what I think he did?
I want to know.
I want to know.
I think when the movie Friday Night Lights came out, and he saw that one scene where Booby Miles' uncle was out there in the stands, he's like, the boy can catch, he can run, he can block, the boy can throw. Did I tell you that? He'll pick up the trash, wash the car for you, all while holding the football and smiling. And he probably saw that one scene and was like, I can do this. You know what I'm saying? But I think that's great, though, with the baseball. I do hope that more people pick up the bat. I would like to see more people from the state playing baseball, playing soccer. You know, everybody, of course, can play football, basketball, baseball, but I would like to see more people at least try to. I myself even wish I would have stopped.
I mean, I agree with you. I grew up playing baseball, and actually I started playing basketball first, and then the two leagues I were in disbanded. I was in two PAL leagues, and they went on hiatus, and I picked up baseball. But and I don't want to go off on a tangent, but I think a lot of the
Senior October. This is Debates Among Friends, brought to you by Stella Artois. You could go on a tangent as much as you like.
Yeah, for real. I just kind of did. I mean, that's just what I do. I mean, but if it's relevant, who cares?
Well, that's the point I was going to make. With football trying to address safety concerns, hockey not as predominantly, but also dealing with the same issues. You are seeing a lot more young men and women go towards baseball, basketball, soccer than the full contact sports. Now with all the science and the studies coming out showing how much player safety, it has been improved in some parts, but still needs to be further improved and needs to be further addressed. So I definitely think baseball, I think baseball, basketball, and soccer will definitely benefit from that.
But can we say, though, like, honestly, I mean, football and all of the sports, I'll say, each and every sport, none of them have ever been safe. And I believe as the evolution, I'm not even going to say evolution, I'm going to say the evolution
I see what you did.
Yeah, I know. The evolution of the athlete now, the numbers, the data, you know, the nutrition, the workout program, everything. These speeding bullets that these kids are, how big they are, how fast they are. There's no way to combat that. Like, unless you say, hey, this is no longer tackle football, this is two-hand touch, or this is flag football from now on, it's hard to take that contact out. As well as in basketball, like, I mean, when LeBron James came out, he might have been, 225, 230, maybe, I would say 235, something like that. Now we're talking about 250 of grown man muscle, and he probably runs about a 4.4, 4.5, honestly, if we clock him. So just imagine LeBron coming down and trying to dunk on you. Not too many people are going to be able to physically stop LeBron from trying to dunk on you.
Unless his name is Professor John Gotti.
Unless his name is Professor John Gotti. I would love for LeBron to attempt to dunk on you, though. I would love to see this.
I already told you before. I'll shut down LeBron James easy.
I know you will.
But I agree with you. No sport is 100% safe. You do any physical activity, there's risk. I mean, baseball's even tried to mitigate it. I mean, for example, you used to be able to, as long as you were reaching for the bag, if you were trying to break up a double play, you could swing your legs out and try and, make the second baseman or shortstop, whoever's covering, skip rope. Now your whole body now has to go straight at second base, and that danger is kind of eliminated. And listen, I get it. There's a lot of players that have been hurt. I'll never forget, famously, Posada was flying into second base one time, and the guy threw the ball the way he was going across the bag, threw it right into his face.
Yep.
Like point blank. So there's always same thing with home plate collisions. They've tried to minimize that. You have to make an attempt to go at home plate. You just can't bowl the guy over now unless it's like a bang play. Like it used to be, if somebody had the ball and I'm 20 feet out, I could still just try and bum rush the guy.
Yep. As long as the person had to hold on to the ball.
Right. Now they're trying to frown upon that. Now you have to make an attempt to go after the plate. So you're 100% right in that regard. That no sport, any physical activity, I don't care if you're hiking, mountain climbing, riding a jet ski, any physical, water skiing, any physical activity comes with risk. Absolutely. It's dependent upon the parent as to which risk how much risk they want to expose the kid to, and then when the kid reaches a certain age, he or she gets to make that decision. So,
and I think ultimately, I think it's important for kids. Like, it always bothered me when parents say, "Oh, my kids can't play football," and it's kind of like, "Why? Well, why not?" Oh, it's dangerous. Everything is dangerous. Too much math at this point in the world. I don't know if anybody's seen that new math, but I'm sure too much of that math is dangerous. You understand what I'm saying? So, absolutely. I'm just going to throw it out there, but I think that's great points. I don't know what.
I mean,
I really don't know.
I don't know if you had a chance to look at the video I posted out there on, Twitter and Facebook at, Kin86, by the way. The top 20 gruesome injuries in NBA history, or in basketball history. So, and most of them are non-contact. And a lot of them were non-contact.
Non-contact. Because guys are so fast, they're still strong guys, they're fast, but when speed and velocity, and I think that was a point I was going to make about baseball, is guys, I think somebody mentioned, I think I was listening to a podcast, it might have been Rich Eisen or one of the shows that I listened to, and the thing was that 10, 15, 20 years ago, you might have had a sprinkled amount of guys who could throw 100-mile-per-hour fastball.
Yes.
Now it's like 100 miles per hour seems to be the norm.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Most guys are coming out of the pen throwing 97 baseline, and you're exactly right. 20 years ago, you only had a handful of guys that can do that. Right.
So just think about that aspect of the game, like the velocity, the torque that needs to be used to actually hit these balls, and it's just it's a completely different game now. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, to me, the physical specimens that are being produced now in high school, in college, I mean, it's changing all the games on all levels. So, but I know we
Yeah.
have to start looking to go to the next subject. I saw the ear tap there from Scott. He gave me the tap. Anything else we need to know pressing from baseball? Senor October.
Other than how the Yankees are, doing great and they're surprising the league.
Yes. Yeah, I'll touch on that real quick. The Yankees, this is the youngest team they've had since the early 90s. And, for the first time, you're really not focusing on the veterans. I mean, you have veterans there. You have, Didi Gregorius is a veteran now, Jacoby Ellsbury, Matt Holliday. And these are guys in the New York media several years ago. All the focus would be on them. But the Yankees have done, I would say, an exceptional job of remaining competitive while at the same time trying to. I mean, and that's the tough thing about playing in the New York market. It's very hard to do a stripped down rebuild and not be competitive. And the Yankees have slowly begun to do this. And I mean, everybody is talking about the baby bombers. You're talking about guys like Gary Sanchez, Aaron Judge, Torreyes. You're talking about all these young guys that, they do have a spotlight on them, but it's not a spotlight of we need to see you perform now. It's more of a spotlight of where the Yankee fan, I think the knowledgeable Yankee fan is really excited. I mean, I'm a Yankee fan myself, and for the first time in a long time, I was actually looking forward to this season because a lot of these young prospects that the Yankees have cultivated over the years, and Brian Cashman, I think, deserves a lot of credit as to pushing the right buttons and making shrewd moves, and getting a lot of youth. I mean, they've done what is really hard to do: remain competitive, but do a rebuild. Even though they don't want to say it, it's like a dirty word. That's what they've been doing. They've remained relevant, which is very hard to do in a rebuild.
This is true.
So for the first time, the Yankees, it's not about the stars. I mean, Matt Holliday is a great ball player. He won the 2011 World Series with the Cardinals. Played there for 7 or 8 seasons. And, any other year or any other part of the last decade, it would be the big press conference about Holliday and all this. And they're kind of just role players now, where the baby bombers are kind of the talk. And the Yankees, they had a tough, gritty win last night against St. Louis. They've won, I believe now it's 8 in a row, I believe.
Yes.
It's early. I mean, this is a marathon, a baseball season.
Oh, they won 7 straight. They won 7 straight.
Excuse me, 7 straight. Yeah, watch them lose tonight because I said 8.
Don't jinx us, sir. But before we go on to basketball, I just want to get a quick take because the Yankees did win, got their 7th win against the Cardinals, which was ironic. But I wanted to get your quick take about Greg Bird, who was 3 for 3, and I mean just got in a monster shot last night as well too.
Yeah, Bird is a really interesting guy. A lot of the interviews I've read with him, he's a very cerebral ball player. And he had hurt his ankle, and he had told reporters something interesting. He said, "I just didn't feel right." He goes, "I didn't feel right." And last season, was a struggle for him, but he says now he feels right. And Girardi had mentioned something that they go into the cage and. Oh, I'm sorry, not Girardi. I'm sorry. This was referencing Joe Torre. Joe Torre was able to go down to the cages, and he was just able to tell guys based on their stance or how they were moving if they felt right, and would try and pick it up. But Bird really seems to be coming into his own. I mean, like you said, he had a monster game last night. He seems to be getting more and more comfortable at first base. And listen, Mark Teixeira, pretty big shoes to fill, and he filled in for him a good portion of the season last year. And to be the full-time replacement, it's not easy, but I think he's beginning to slowly own that role. And so it's been fun to see. And again, just like these young guys, it's gonna be fun to watch them grow. as a Yankee fan, you haven't watched that since the early '90s, where you have when Jeter and Mariano and Pettit were the young guys coming up. And I'm not comparing these guys to them, but this is the first time in a long time since then, I would say, that there's this brand new young core coming up, and we have to see how it starts to fall into shape.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you.
And I don't want to shortchange our neighbors across town, the Mets. I'll mention something real quick about them. They're looking good. They're looking good. They've had 3 tough losses against Miami, and Miami seems to always give them fits. Whether Miami's good or whether Miami's bad, they always seem to give the Mets a hard time. Harvey seemed to have a good game. He was locating well the other night, even though he didn't get the win. He's coming back from surgery, and he's kind of going to have to adjust to not being a power pitcher anymore, to where he's going to have to really locate better, and he seems to be doing that. Syndergaard's been doing good. Their starting pitching is as good as advertised. Probably the best 1 through 3, maybe even 1 through 5 in baseball. And Cespedes is, he's really trying to become that leader that offensively that the Mets can really rally behind. And the Mets, they're gonna be in good shape. I don't think they'll win the division. I still think it'd probably be the Nationals, but I think the Mets will definitely be contending for the playoffs without question. They got themselves a good solid core going there, and they're looking pretty good too. I mean, it's going to be exciting, especially if both teams are very competitive and are both vying for the playoffs. It's going to be an exciting time come fall.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm actually looking forward to watching the Yankees live a little bit later on this year once they come out here to Texas. So it's going to be quite the spectacle. Granted, I would love to be watching them right back home in New York.
Yeah, I got to get out to the stadium this year too. They made some upgrades, and when I get to the ballpark in the Bronx, I will definitely give you a report as to how the upgrades are in person.
Absolutely, man, because you are our eye in the sky out there in the BRNX. But enough about baseball. Let's get to what people really want to hear us talk about. Game 1s are in the books. We have the Game 2 currently right now on the way. The Cavaliers are beating the Pacers. From what I see, 40-29, 8:40 left in the second quarter. But let's talk about Game 1. Because a lot of things happened. A lot of good things, a lot of bad things. Just things. Who wants to start?
Can we start with the Bucks and the Raptors, was it? No, the Bucks and the... Yeah, Raptors. It was the Raptors.
Yeah, you're right.
I thought it was right. Now, you know what? For some reason, I always mix the Raptors with the Hawks. That's what it is. I always do that. So the Bucks and the Raptors, Hawks and the Wizards. So for some reason, people are really, really shocked about the Greek Can you
Say it again. I did not catch that.
Did you just roll down the window or something?
No, I'm sorry. That was might have gone through a dead spot. I apologize, gentlemen.
No, you're fine. Roll down the window on us?
I was like, this is awesome.
I was saying that I think a lot of people were shocked, and we're seeing the growth of the Greek Freak. I think that's what we're seeing. And what's that?
You talk about Giannis?
Yeah. Yes, the only Greek Freak there is.
Yeah. I was trying to goad you to try to say his last name again.
Well, we're not doing that. I know Trollmaster himself, John Gotti, would do that, but I'm not doing it. But, yeah, I mean, but I think we talked about that last Wednesday, how we thought, to me at least, there was no way that he would go down easy, even without, like, Jabari Parker. they still have a lot of great talent. So that was definitely a game that stood out to me, other than last night's game one in Houston.
I still think that Milwaukee's the most athletic team in the playoffs.
I would have to agree with you on that one. I definitely would.
Only because of how great the Houston Rockets are. Okay.
Oh my, we're gonna get there, okay? Let's calm it down, sir.
Slow
We're
your
gonna
roll.
get there.
You said that.
We have 6 more games before the Rockets, okay? Let's just calm it down, because I know we're gonna give you the floor. We're gonna allow you to say what you need to say.
Yeah, the most athletic, and that's why I had to just shut you down and take down your Space Mountain.
I mean, but we'll talk about. Let's finish up the Milwaukee-Toronto game, then we can talk about the next game. Let's do that.
You just said the most athletic team, and I have to immediately just say,
Terrible.
So
Anything else about the Milwaukee-Toronto game, sirs?
just the fact that it's the most athletic team.
Oh my goodness! Stop it! Stop it!
I didn't get a chance to watch it live, but I caught the highlights. It was impressive, and a lot of people have seen Toronto the last couple of years, be this force in the East, and Milwaukee. I think a lot of people have slept on them throughout the year. They play in a smaller market. They don't get exactly the media coverage, that they probably deserve. And I as a Nets fan, I gotta tip my cap to Jason Kidd. I think he's done a tremendous job. Getting the team to where they are, and again to go up against a very good team like the Toronto Raptors.
That's so funny because we had somebody
I don't think he watched the show last week.
who was very, very critical of Jason Kidd and saying that him and I forget the coach's name
Dwayne
from
Casey.
the Raptors, Dwayne Casey, that is his name, were two of the worst coaches in the league.
Well, I didn't say they were the second coming of Phil Jackson, coaching wise, not GM wise, coaching wise.
Thank you, sir. Could I have another?
And figure out who was going to, I think he said, muck it up the worst.
Yes, he did say that.
Yes, muck with an M. He didn't actually say the F word, but really, muck.
Yeah, but I mean, hey, the Bucks are in the playoffs, so I mean, you still got to tip your cap to them.
Absolutely, they did better than my Knicks or your Nets.
Absolutely, without question.
Bastards. The next game we have is actually the game that's on right now. Cleveland against Indiana. Indiana lost by 1. Are we surprised? Do we feel like the fix is in? Or do we feel like Cleveland is just not taking Indiana seriously?
Probably a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Obviously, Paul George said he wanted the last shot, didn't get a chance to get it.
I mean, who's TJ Miles to be sitting there taking the last shot of the game?
Somebody who,
Just saying.
but they double teamed them. I mean, what was he supposed to do? That's where Carmelo used to say he wanted people to take the last shot. I mean, these are NBA professionals. I would hope that, especially 1 point, we're not even talking about a 3. We're talking about it could have been a wide open 2. So that's the part that kind of gets me, is that it could have been a 2-point shot. It didn't have to be a 3. So.
I mean, other than just the last play, though, the flow of the game itself, what did everyone feel about it? The fact that, Cleveland was up big and Indiana came back.
Well, I mean, Cleveland, and I think that's why LeBron is complaining about playmakers. And I didn't watch this game, but I watched the highlights as well. Really, you would think this is a squash match, similar to a game we're going to cover later, the Warriors versus the Trailblazers. You think these are squash matches, like, hey, game 1 should all go as planned, but some game one's didn't. So in this particular situation, as I mentioned on the show, I felt the Pacers were going to try to push the envelope. And, of course, we're all hoping that the Pacers can somehow overpower the mighty, mighty morphing Cavaliers into a loss, but the chance of that happening is we have a better chance of me going up to AJ Styles and telling him I love the Styles Clash than the Pacers winning the series.
I'm not going to say anything about that one. I got nothing to say there.
Well, one, I'll just say stranger things have happened, but two, I mean, the game was entertaining, but I think that I think Cleveland, left their foot off the throttle, and I think that they maybe. I kind of agree with that they weren't taking the Pacers as seriously as they probably should have.
24-17 fourth quarter score with Indiana, beating that quarter.
Right, exactly. And Cleveland better watch out because that's how they will lose it. I think Cleveland will win the series, but if they give the Pacers any sort of hope, or if they really make the Pacers think that they should beat them, and Cleveland will probably think that Pacers don't belong on the same floor with them. But I mean, listen, stranger things have happened, and pride always comes before the fall.
This is
so.
true.
If this goes to 7 games, I don't know. I might have to give it to Indiana.
If it goes 7 games and Indiana loses, I still think it's a win for Indiana.
It still is. I would say this: if Cleveland allows Indiana to feel any sort of confidence heading back home for Game 3, Cleveland's gonna be in trouble.
And Pacers fans are terrific. I mean,
exactly.
They are diehard fans.
Like if they was to lose tonight by 1 again, or at least like under 5, Game 3, it's on. It's on and popping.
Oh yeah, and that place, that field house is going to be absolutely nuts. It's going to be so loud because if they even think that they have a shot, if you even forget the team, if the fans even think their team has a shot at taking you out, and again, don't forget geographically, this is a close matchup. Indiana and Ohio are right next door.
They are.
So, the travel's not far, and I'm sure the fan base overlaps, the two fan bases. So if you even give them a hint of hope, forget it. You really may go in there and lose at least 1 game in their building.
True.
I can agree with that. So what do you think tonight? Does Indiana pull off the upset, steal home court advantage, or will Cleveland once again, either dominate, or will they actually give them some sort of light?
What's the score right now?
Score right now is. I have to try and pull that up. Give me a sec. Where is Chris? It is 56-45, 4:31 left in the second quarter.
The game's not over. It's definitely going to. But I don't know. Like
it's
I said,
only
the
11
Cavs
points. It's only 11 points right now. But
the Cavs probably come back yesterday, so I don't know. They're probably going to try to close this one out if they can. But it really just depends on how hot or cold people are.
This is true.
Yeah.
This is true. And that's what I said before the series started. All that's going to happen is they're going to flip a switch, and, J.R. flipping Smith is going to be hitting freaking 8 threes a game again.
If Indiana can keep it to within 10 going into the fourth, that's going to be up for grabs.
That's going to have an image of Reggie Miller doing the choke symbol happening again.
Oh, the good old days.
And Reggie Miller is one of my favorite players, too, for the way that he was able to goad people and get them off their games. I love it.
Best in the league.
But let's go to the next game, or lack thereof. The San Antonio Spurs hosted the Memphis Grizzlies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, I know the Grizzlies they're not gonna go away so quietly. I think it's not gonna be a sweep. Maybe Game 5, Game 6, maybe. But I don't think they're gonna sweep. They just don't have it like they used to, and I think they just didn't make enough moves to stay relevant at this point.
I agree with that. I can agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think this series is like the embodiment of Sisyphus pushing the stone up the hill, and then it comes back and rolls on top of him, and he tries to push it up again, and it comes back and rolls on top of him. Uh, Memphis will put up a hell of a fight. They will, but San Antonio's going to advance. I mean, I don't even think that's a question.
I feel like this is old Yeller getting put down.
Yeah,
That's
And
brutal. I wouldn't go that far, but okay.
yeah, they
Well,
made a mistake.
because
They went after
they
Parsons.
really haven't had anything done, and in my opinion, I don't think Mike Conley should have got the contract that he did too.
Yeah.
But this is Kawhi Leonard's series right here.
Yes.
This is
I
Kawhi
think
Leonard's series right, and we're actually gonna get Senor October's MVP, prediction at the end.
But
of
it's
the
his team.
show.
Like, there's nothing about it. It's just Kawhi's team.
But
Tony Parker's taking a step back.
But we
Ginobili's
know
taking
it's
a
his
step back.
team though, but no one gives him any respect.
I think you're taking the media baiting out of context. I don't
I'm
think
not
they're
even
not giving
taking
the
the
respect.
media baiting. I'm talking about that pissant Stephen A. Smith.
Stephen A. Smith. I mean, what do you want from him? I mean, he's not gonna.
I
If you're
told
not
you,
leading the league in scoring,
Professor John Gotti is calling out Stephen A. Smith to come onto the show or invite me to the show, and I'm gonna put him
If
on
you're
blast.
if you're
And it's
not
gonna
leading,
be must-see TV.
if you're not leading the league in scoring, for people like Stephen A. Smith, nobody cares. No, defense isn't sexy,
Defense win championships though.
but it's not
Indeed.
sexy.
Just saying.
Listen, people.
They don't
people
care
for
about
years
that.
have-
They
Listen,
don't care
people.
about talking about the MVP.
People for years have been talking about how the San Antonio Spurs aren't sexy, but all they do is win. People say the San Antonio Spurs are boring and all this because they play fundamental basketball. It's not flashy, but they win. They win.
We're talking about individual accolades here. We're not talking about team basketball. I mean,
No, I know.
I think the Spurs, the way they play basketball, is sexy because that's kind of the way the Rockets are playing with that extra pass. I mean,
I knew
teams
he
that
was
make
gonna
extra.
somehow put the Rockets in there.
I was, but I think I just don't think his numbers are just comparable to what other people have done. If that's the case, if they were going to give it to him, they would just skip him and give it to LeBron because LeBron plays, if not better, if not the same, just as good as defense as Kawhi Leonard in people's eyes.
Oh, I'm about to say this year, absolutely not.
Why would you disagree?
You can look at the stats. You can look at the
mean,
stats
what-
and also the eye test as well too. It showed that Kawhi Leonard is, bar none, the best defender in the league. Period. LeBron James is, I could probably put number 3. Rudy Gobert is number 2.
Now who's scoring more points?
LeBron James, but that's like by
I'm
by tenths of the points though. Like, but that's
matter. Gonna give
but
it to him, though.
dumb.
If it's that, we're talking about the difference between tenths of a point and number 1 and number 3. I mean, some people. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's got to
But
be.
you just went talking about defense to talking about points.
But I'm just trying to open your eyes to the idea.
I see it though, but what I'm arguing about is how come people have to look at it so narrowly.
This is the overall MVP, and because this is an NBA that focuses so strongly on offense, which the Houston Rockets just so seem to do very naturally.
All right, Chris, get that mute button ready because if he talks about the Rockets one more time, he's gonna be on timeout for like a minute. He's gonna be on timeout for a minute.
If Melo was up there, I mean, it would just be Melo being up there. It just so happens that James Harden moved to point guard, and oh my God.
Let's move on to the last game on Saturday. The Clippers against the Utah Jazz. The Jazz managed to pull it out in the end with a Joe Johnson clutch shot at the buzzer.
I mean, we knew this though, and this is why I said Doc's probably going to lose his job and go coach. Maybe he go coach it somewhere else. Maybe it's time. Maybe he goes to the Nuggets and revives the Nuggets.
I, I don't know,
Probably
man.
not.
Senor October,
Listen.
you have a comment about that?
Listen. In regards to Joe Johnson, I mean, I wish him nothing but the best. And listen, he did it with the Nets. For the short time he was with the Nets, he had an absurd amount of game-winning threes. So it didn't shock me one bit that the ball was going to his hands.
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's really it. I knew the Clippers were going to lose because they just don't have that identity. Like I was saying on Wednesday, their identity is just like, hey, CPT, pick and roll. Maybe it's the alley-oop, maybe a kick out, or let's throw the ball down to Blake Griffin and see if he can do some jab step to the fake right, and he might go left, then do some kind of spin or something. That's really it.
And then do that
Well, that's
horrible jump shot that I hate.
Yeah.
Well,
So
If I had to choose, and this is me being controversial right now, if I had to choose between Blake Griffin's jump shot and LeBron James' jump shot, I wouldn't choose either.
yeah, from Marion.
I would actually choose Shawn Marion's jump shot before those two.
From Marion, yeah.
Oh, yeah. But
Texas was whack though.
in regards to the Clippers, I mean, they get an absurd amount of national TV. By the way, can I just say this? I am tired of putting on ESPN or NBA TV, and it's the damn Clippers. I mean, jeez.
They've never been a consistent 50-win team until the last couple of years when Doc got them there. So I think it's time to move on from Doc.
I mean,
Yeah, but like,
would you say
my
that
point-
they are now overrated?
They've been overrated for a while. I think
Yeah.
starting to see it now.
I would agree that, and like their style of basketball, it's almost like it's not even with the intent of being productive. It's almost with the intent of just like showing off.
Hey, let's just play this game. I don't know what the plan is, but
Right.
When Doc was in Boston, it was easy. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that Rondo is better than Chris Paul by any stretch, but you have CP3, you have Blake Griffin, who is in no means even close to Kevin Garnett. I would say Rondo is closer to CP3 than Blake is closer to KG, even at 3,800 years old. I think that KG could probably come back and give it to Blake one-on-one with the great one. I'm saying.
I would agree, but like I watched the Clippers play, and just like you said, it's like all right, let's see who can do the most absurd play. Let's see who can shoot the most absurd shot. But it never seems like there's plays to win the game. It's just let's just be entertaining.
I'll say this, and then we could probably move on to the next team. The only reason the Clippers are on TV is so we could watch Jamal Crawford.
Yeah.
I mean, that's Jamal Crawford.
Hey, I still love me some Jamal Crawford.
That's
Oh,
it.
who does?
That's the only reason we watch. What's the next?
I know you still miss him on the Knicks. I know you do, and you can't tell me that you don't.
Oh, I've been saying that. I've been not even just him. Okay, let me go on a quick tangent real quick.
No, don't go on
We're all
a
going on tangents.
Oh my God.
As much as I would love to have Jamal Crawford back, what broke my heart, was when Danilo Gallinari left the Knicks.
He's
That
been
one
injury
broke my heart.
He's been injury plagued anyway, bro.
But he wouldn't have been like that if he stayed with the Knicks.
Handler.
But that's a what if situation, though.
They should have just kept the whole group. I mean, now you can obviously.
I mean, once again, I'm saying the same things over and over again, but we were second in the East before that trade, and then we barely made the playoffs.
I think you should send this around.
Like, I just want my sweet kin James Dolan.
Just send this whole thing to James Dolan. He should listen to this because clearly
Cleveland is now up 63-57.
Oh wow!
33 seconds left before halftime.
Well, excuse me, guys. I'm gonna have to cut out here.
No, definitely, it's all good.
But thank you for having me on, and it was a pleasure talking some baseball with you fine gentlemen.
Absolutely. We look forward to your first article out there on the Debates Among Friends website, and be sure to follow Senor October at JC Urbanus on Twitter.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Not a problem, sir. We'll catch you again soon. #LASG.
Later.
Senor October. Senor October. But what's the next game, sir?
The next game is Atlanta against Washington, which was on NBA TV. This did not get any kind of national exposure, but it turned out to be a really good game.
I knew Washington was going to win. I don't know if they're going to win a series based on Q's prediction of Washington sports just not holding it together, but I just don't believe in the Raptors. Not Raptors. Dang it. The Hawks. And what Dwight Howard brings, I just don't. I'm just not believing in it, sir. I just don't. All right, I hope that they can put it together and not get swept, but I think the moves that they made were, at best, I can't even come up with anything good. Like,
I mean, it just put them.
They traded some players. They traded some players away.
It just helped reestablish the status quo, not necessarily put them over the hump.
Like, who gets rid of Kyle Korver for nothing? You know what I mean?
I mean, we already talked about that and about the LeBron James rules that can potentially happen, which I'm so happy that's going to happen because I'm tired of these frickin' free agents that, clear waivers going straight to LeBron James' team. Like, that's just one of my pet peeves right there.
LeBron James.
But let's go to the next game. Portland Trailblazers out in Oakland against the Golden State Warriors.
Portland gave them all they can handle. There's no question about it.
CJ McCollum. He's definitely a stud.
Yeah, he is. But yeah, it was pretty interesting, I will say. The Portland Trailblazers gave them all they could handle. And, sometimes when people get all they can handle, they have to rise to the occasion.
Absolutely. I still believe, CJ McCollum and Damian Lillard is one of the most dangerous backcourts in the NBA.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say they're the most, but they're one of the most dangerous backcourts in the NBA. And the real issue is just the other guys, really. But, they managed to hold on throughout the whole way. Unfortunately, they couldn't pull it out.
They just don't have the offensive weapons, bro. That's it. 41 points from two guys. I think Q said it. You said those two guys. Who else do they have? And that's where the problem is. Like we said, even Turner, that's not going to get it done, bro. No. It's all good to have a brothership and brotherhood on your team, but if that's not equating to baskets, it's not going to do us any good.
No doubt. But the game after that one was being played with heavy hearts. It was the Chicago Bulls heading out to Boston.
Can I just say shout out to Isaiah Thomas, of course, for coming out there and playing.
Absolutely.
But shout out to Rondo for coming out and playing.
Rondo playing the way that, he used to play and the way that people was expecting him to play. Like, he just showed Rondo of old. Maybe he just needed to be back in the playoffs to be able to play the way that he wanted to play.
Really aggressive. I trolled somebody earlier. I said, how about that Rondo guy showing up? And she said, I don't hear about no Rondo. But, yeah, the Celtics, they just didn't finish the game. The Bulls played pretty tough. I really think that Mirotic stinks. Like, he stinks.
Oh, that next game we're going to talk about, we're going to definitely roast on someone who stinks.
Oh, yes. But
because
Mirotic,
it's the game that the doctor's been waiting for this entire time.
It really is. But Mirotic stinks. I do like the fact that the Celtics played pretty strong, and I'll give them a lot of credit out there.
No doubt. I think they're definitely going to bounce back in game 2. I just think just this first game, it just too much going on.
I believe
just couldn't pull it out. But let's go to the last game. Or lack thereof.
Wow. That's insane.
I'm going in because I still, that the whole media baiting and everyone just talking about triple doubles, like, No one said anything after this game on any social media platform.
Because there was
They
no
were
triple double.
quiet.
There was no triple double, bro.
But it's the Russell Westbrook City Thunder against the Houston Rockets.
Can I just say, shout out to James Harden, my fellow Virgo, for going out there, beating the beard, and he didn't have a Euro last night. Like, he didn't Euro more than once or twice.
He didn't
He was
need to
just out
do
there.
anything. All he had to do was just wait for the switch and just went to town. Even when there wasn't a switch, he just went to town. Like, the entire team went to town.
Dominated your new favorite player, Andre Robinson.
No.
The
I'd rather have
guy,
Aaron Aflalo than Andre Robinson.
that's the guy I was going to say, the guy you would pick over Aaron Aflalo, Andre Robinson.
Nope, I'll pick Aaron Aflalo over him. At least Aaron Aflalo will, take better shots.
Sure. Fadeaway shots, that is.
Exactly. At least he's next to the basket. You saw this bum last night miss a freaking layup?
I don't know what that was. A few people missed some layups, but, I don't know. I just think that we just played great team basketball. And we didn't shoot the ball very well, but we just out-rebounded. And I really love that.
Your points in the paint, your second chance points, fast break points, like a lot of things, a lot of those categories, the Rockets succeeded heavily. Rebounds, how are you going to have 2 7-footers on your team? And a couple of athletic forwards and stuff.
I mean,
Not
can you
even
dig it?
get 8 rebounds. Doctor's doing Booker T. Shout out to Booker T.
Yes, he is. But it was great, man. I was really hyped. And I'm going to stay hyped until we get the 4 wins. But I'm hoping we sweep them after that pick.
Speaking of being hyped, the hype man of the night of last night, Patrick Beverley. I mean, he gets the Warrior Award today of last night. I mean, he took that moving screen, and the doctor was quick to point that out. That was a moving screen. And he just got up, and he just dropped 2 3-pointers in their faces. It was just nasty. Oh, my God.
It made me angry.
Yeah, I think at that point you finally started showing emotion.
Unbelievable. But I'm happy we got the win. I'm glad we were able to play some pretty solid team defense. And at this point, I'm just ready for the next game on Wednesday, which will be live 8:30 on YouTube on the Debate Amongst Friends. Please don't forget to subscribe. Also follow us on our social media platforms. I am at TL Double. This is the doctor, of course. And the Professor John Gotti can be found at Ken86, also at Debate Amongst Friends, on Twitter, on Facebook. You can still catch us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Podbean, Pod Addict, any other place that you listen to podcasts. You can hear them all. Episode 1 to this episode 49. With that, John Gotti, I think we've covered a little bit of MLB with Senor October. Now we've gone over the playoffs. Don't you dare talk about playoffs. Are you going to hit them with a thick track for this evening?
Yes, it is from underground artist Big Knowledge from his album that actually just came out not too long ago, actually, about a week ago. It's called The Take Back. The name of the track is Hell Heat. It's an underground rap and hip-hop track. Be sure to catch him on his SoundCloud, Spotify. We put it out there in the description of the video. Make sure you tune in on Wednesday as we talk some more sports. And we'll catch you again soon, ladies and gentlemen. Peace and love.
Deuces.
Yo, Tell Heat, motherfucker. Yo, check it. It's Big Knowledge. Yo. It's time to make mad bills in large amounts. Sick of paying mad bills and stressing out my head, turning gray now. I'm only 26, living like a G since I was a little kid. rolling up hits, 13 stealing whips, driving through the crack blocks with my dude Jim. Parkdale to Regent Park, filling up bottles of piss and throwing them at crackheads and shit. All laughing and swerving, getting chased by the Nards through the Dog City blocks in the alley we park. Seen the chariots going by with the sirens on. The undercover cop went by driving on. We all laughed with a close call. Time to keep it safe, time to ditch the ride in a safe place. Wipe the fingerprints on the steering wheel and the side door. Hop the train home in the morning. It's kinda hard when you're growing up rough, never knowing when the end comes cause of God's bus. You could get touched in the street, get slumped over beat cause the city on fire like hell heat. It's kinda hard when you're growing up rough, never knowing when the end comes cause of God's bus. You could get touched in the street, get slumped over beat cause the city on fire like hell heat. It's time to make mad bills in large amounts. Sick of paying mad bills and stressing out my head, turning gray now. I'm only 26, living like a G since I was a little kid. In the crack house, chilling with my mans. Everybody drinking liquor and we looking for a jam. Not talk about a party, talk about jamming your ass with a blade in an armed robbery. When you're broke, there's no level to the madness. Turn savage with intent to make cash in a stable home. Steaks and eggs in a safer zone. PlayStation, pasta, rigatone. Yo, I see the vision of mad cars and stars. Dreams of chilling with 50 Cent and KGR. It may be hard, but think back to Eminem in 96 when he dropped Never Too Far. It's kinda hard when you're growing up rough, never knowing when the end comes cause of God's bus. You could get touched in the street, get slumped over beat cause the city on fire like hell heat. It's kinda hard when you're growing up rough, never knowing when the end comes cause of God's bus. You could get touched in the street, get slumped over beat cause the city on fire like hell heat.